Pause that game. We're back with more Nerd Radio.
Honestly, I hate working here. They are so weird.
That's right, more Nerd Radio, and I almost gave the call letters for the riff.
Well, you know what? Let's run through the stations that support us. Of course, WRIF in Detroit, and Rock 92.9 in Boston, and 96 K-Rock in Fort Myers. So how about that? There's a
Thank you very much, Al.
You.
It's good when you can do that at least once a show.
Yeah. I like how it's not a guarantee, though.
It's not a guarantee.
I think you tried it one week, and I was just like,
yeah,
Nerd Radio 101, idiot.
He's like, I wanted my $5.99's worth on that domain.
Right. It is Chuck Bean forgetting stuff, and it is Al Beck remembering the stuff Chuck's forgetting, and then James just kind of laughing at both of us.
And I'm filling in the blanks with the fart jokes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's how Nerd Radio works. So Al sent me this story this morning, which I think I'd seen last night, to the Los Angeles Comic-Con.
Yeah, which, to be fair, I was joking that I contributed something to the show. I didn't read the story. It just came up on one of our prep services, and I was like, oh, that looks like a headline for Nerd Radio.
That's
and
hell of a headline.
Copied and pasted it, and I let Chuck read it.
Exactly. The Los Angeles Comic-Con, which is typically held in September, has been pushed back to December 11th through the 13th, and has decided they're going to have a Comic-Con come hell or high water before 2020 is over.
With the real people in attendance.
Yes, the Los Angeles Daily News reports the organizers are taking multiple steps in an attempt to provide a safe experience. They said they're doing everything they can to help nerds unite this December. But it says if the pandemic makes it necessary to actually cancel this con, tickets will be honored at the next one, which is essentially everything in 2020, right? It's like your concerts are canceled, but you know what? Keep your tickets. When we decide next year to do it, your tickets are still good, kind of thing. And it's the same thing here. I mean, we talked about this a couple of months ago, and I'd said that I don't think you could pay me to go to a convention this year. My feelings haven't changed, but I can see that we are closer.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we're closer to being able to go to a convention. Not necessarily the type of conventions we had where we're all shoulder to shoulder checking out dollar boxes, but I feel like we're getting there. We're just not there yet.
No, not quite. Not quite there.
And it's the kind of thing, because UMACon is the big convention that we have here, the anime convention I like to go to in the fall. And they actually found out last week that the Marriott, which is the hotel that's connected to
the venue?
The
Renaissance?
The Renaissance Center, that typically everyone gets their pre-orders, or they get their rooms ahead of time. The Marriott has canceled everybody's rooms have went in for UMACon.
What if somebody was like, okay, UMACon's canceled, we'll just check out the beautiful scenery of Detroit,
right?
And then you got canceled.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to find a different hotel,
Ooh.
I guess.
Good luck.
But yeah, I saw it on their Facebook yesterday.
There's a few on 8 Mile.
Yeah, and I think
it's a couple.
You'll be shacked up next to crackheads and prostitutes.
You can even get them by the hour.
Yes. Hell knows.
But yeah, they had to go on there, and I've got somebody on my social media too that's been kind of flying this flag every time one of these conventions refuses to cancel, and everybody gets real pissed at them. There's insurance, and there's like legal fees and stuff like that. So if the state says no, you can't have a giant gathering, or if the Marriott cancels on it or something like that, then they can be like, okay, well, we can't have a convention because our venue canceled. Yeah. Whereas if they cancel, then the venue's like, hey, you still owe us.
Yeah, you can get the deposit back.
Right. So let's talk comics. We're not going to a Comic-Con. Al, we were talking earlier about The Walking Dead, and you were like, what is this Walking Dead Weekly? I'm surprised. Well, I'm not surprised, because you don't really pay attention. But
to anything ever.
Right. When you collected The Walking Dead, do you have them just all in trade paperback, or did you start getting single issues at some point?
I got single issues at some point. Yeah,
okay.
I did start late. I didn't start from the beginning. But at some point when it just so happened that I bought a new trade.
Yeah.
And the next issue was like out that week as well, so I switched over.
Okay. Well, they did when The Walking Dead hit really huge, they did a reprint of the initial like 25-ish issues or something like that called The Walking Dead Weekly, and they came out every week.
Yes.
And with comics being one of the mediums that needs help, much like the movie theaters and everything like that, Robert Kirkman has decided he's not going to make any new Walking Dead other than that Negan one shot we got a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
However, he is going back, and they will be colorizing, because it was a black and white comic, the original comics, and putting them out twice a month as this new Walking Dead thing. And then it will have stuff in the back too, different interviews with him and the writers about, or script pages or layouts and that kind of thing. And that's going to be, I think it's going to be $3.99 instead of the $2.99 that the books were initially, because you get.
So wait a second, you're going to get the same comic but in color.
Yep.
With some bonus material.
Yep.
For more money.
Yeah.
That is a genius move. If you guys fall for it, you're suckers.
Yeah.
Well, that was my my question to you, Al. Is does that appeal to you at all?
No, I mean, I can kind of understand a little bit of it, but nah, it really doesn't. I could see myself if I went back and reread them all, and it was on some sort of, like a Marvel Unlimited thing. I could see myself reading the colorized versions.
Sure.
But at the same time, I also like the original versions of stuff. Like I like those old movies and like some of the old Christmas movies. They went back and colorized them. I usually still watch them in black and white because I'd rather see it the way it was shot.
Okay.
So I can understand, I guess, from some aspect, but no, I don't see the reason to go back and repurchase these. There's a few things. Like I do have like a reprint of Amazing Fantasy number 15. Is it?
Yeah.
Their original Spider-Man. Like I've got a reprint of that because like it's kind of cool to have it in a comic book version, even though it's worth nothing.
Well, I think that's kind of that's one of the ideas, is that if you wanted to, getting the first appearance of Negan or getting the first couple of issues of Walking Dead, those are thousands and thousands of dollars now. But I can have this colored version, which is actually in color instead of black and white.
Yeah.
And it's got some extra stuff in the back, and it's only $3.99.
And meanwhile, I don't care enough to I didn't pick up any of the weeklies, even though I didn't have those issues in single issue.
Yeah.
I had them in trade.
Yeah.
I didn't feel a need to pick up the Walking Dead weeklies when they did that, because I do remember that happening.
Right.
And I didn't get a single one of them. I didn't care.
Yeah, and I also think it'll be neat for people who did come in very late on the comic series to be able to experience that, going to the comic store once a month or every couple of weeks and getting that new issue of Walking Dead, and you've read the story, but you probably don't remember, because you read it in trade paperback, you probably don't remember where all the chapter breaks are.
Sure. Yeah, no, so you don't know, because it doesn't have, sometimes you'll get something where it shows you what the cover is, but these ones just rolled straight through.
Okay.
Right. So you'll get to the end of an issue, you're like, it ended here? Oh my God. I would have been so pissed if I had to wait a month to see the next parts.
Yeah.
So back to these comics that are worth thousands.
Yeah.
What is the comic, do you happen to know, the one where Negan bashes somebody's head in?
That is, I think that's issue 100. Let me look it up. Hold on.
Yeah, because
while we're talking
a
here.
listener gave me a copy of that issue.
Yeah.
I don't collect the Walking Dead or whatever. You hear me talking about it, and he sent it to me, gave it to me because I was talking. What's the difference between watching the show and seeing the comics? Because some people are like,
sure.
If you look at the comics, it's almost like the comics are a panel, like the story panels that the directors used to put the show together.
Yeah.
Is it really that accurate? And then he sent me that comic, and I was like, wow. They
sometimes and sometimes not.
Yeah, but like the scene where the dude gets his head bashed in, I was like, that's almost, panel for panel.
Yeah.
They just took that.
Yeah, my thing was like the very first episode of The Walking Dead was very close to the first trade.
Right.
Which, I mean, you also have to understand why they stepped outside of the comics, because that first trade accounted for 6 months worth of single issues, and they did it in one episode.
Yeah, wow,
and so the first episode was almost like that, like you said, where it's like a storyboard of the thing, and it was like a shot-for-shot remake of the first trade. But then by episode 2, it stepped outside of the comic, and things happened that weren't in the book. And my original reaction was like, oh, what the hell? Because I was reading the comics before the show came out, so I was already a fan of it. And I had that like nerd rage for a moment. But then I was able to step outside of it and go, you know what, though? Rick Grimes was not in that situation, but had he been, that's exactly how he would have handled it. So even though it's not The Walking Dead, it is The Walking Dead, and I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. Okay. So when they stepped outside of it, it really didn't bother me all that much. And Robert Kirkman, the writer of the comic, was very involved in the show. So yeah, sometimes it was like a storyboard, but there were also other things that didn't happen, Like there's characters that died at different times and or died in different ways. And
there's what's the blonde girl that died in like the 3rd season, but was alive through the
Andrea.
Andrea survives like the whole book.
Almost.
Sorry. That's issue 100, the one you're talking about, James. It doesn't. It looks like it only goes for maybe $20, which is still pretty good. And it depends because there was a lot of variant covers and there are some reprints to it too.
So I might even have a reprint.
You might have a 2nd or 3rd printing of it.
I know I have a first printing of that.
Yeah.
I was collecting single issues by then.
It's funny because that particular story, it's called Something to Fear, had a series of, they call it a triptych of covers that if you put them all together made one picture, and it was neat. It was Negan with the bat just kind of looking over the bat, and
was there blood dripping off of it?
There was.
Was it Eleanor? What's the name of his bat?
Lucille.
Lucille, that's right.
Yeah.
But
what's Eleanor?
Roosevelt?
No, is that the sled?
What is Rosebud? No, that's Rosebud.
Oh, Rosebud. Okay. I don't know. Never mind.
So Lenore was from the Raven.
Oh, Eleanor. I know Eleanor. Eleanor is, I believe, from Gone in 60 Seconds. I think that is the name of the last car he has to steal, that Mustang. The Shelby Mustang. I think it's Eleanor. I think that's Eleanor. Don't quote me on that. But the chat will let me know if I'm right.
I don't want to hear about Nicolas Cage's chubby Mustang.
Well, I hear it's a hell of a ride. It's a hell of a ride.
People not tuning in to twitch.tv/checkpointxp just totally missed out on the Chuck Bean impression of Nicolas Cage.
My Nick Cage impression.
Yeah, because it's horrible for a podcast. It's all visual. It's 100% visual.
Right.
There's not even so much as a grunt. It's all.
No, it's just I just open my eyes real wide and kind of look down my nose at you, and there we are.
Yeah.
But where the hell was I? It's issue 100.
Gotcha.
The triptych cover, and the guy that owns the comic store that I get Al's comics from, that I go to, Liberty Comics, has all of those, and he's got them up on the wall like all together so you can see them.
That's cool.
And people always ask her, like, are those for sale? And he's like, no. Are you serious?
He's like, that's for me to nerd flex.
Yeah.
You see that?
But I've got
Nerds, we got it.
Well, what he should do is make them for sale, but for a completely unreasonable price.
Right.
So if anyone's willing to buy it, fine.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
$1 billion.
Yes.
Like, yes, it is for sale for $1 billion.
Yes. Chuck buys his comics from Dr. Evil.
He does have a shaved head.
Oh, man.
I have met him once.
You're right.
Yeah.
So, books that came out this week, though, that I always like to encourage you guys. Last month, I told you guys about the 3 Jokers.
Yeah.
The second issue of 3 of the 3 Jokers came out. There's another card that goes with this one. This time it's Batgirl and one of the 3 Jokers. They're down to 2.
Down to 2.
I don't want to spoil too much, but they're down to 2 and looking to maybe fill their ranks with somebody who's in the book.
Wow, they're dropping Jokers and trying to recruit new ones.
Yep.
Wow.
So
it's like the stock market.
Right.
Yeah.
And another
What's
book.
the price of Jokers going for today, Chuck?
The price of Jokers. Another book that came out this week that I had forgotten was a thing is called it's Giant Size X-Men #1 Tribute to Wine and Cockrum, and it's essentially a reprint of Giant Size X-Men #1, which was the introduction to the new team: Storm, Nightcrawler, Wolverine, all of them. But this particular book is a reimagining. What they did was they took the script and the original layouts of Giant Size X-Men #1, and then they got a whole bunch of current artists to do it page by page. So like this first page that I'm showing you guys on Twitch right now was done by Alex Ross.
Okay.
The cover that I got, this is one of the variant covers. This is Trad Moore, who did a Silver Surfer series, and I believe he was the first Walking Dead artist for like the first 6 issues.
I love that style of art right there on the cover.
Yeah,
like,
you want to take a look at it? Because it's interesting. Like I said, page.
What was his first name?
Trad Moore.
No, it's Tony Moore.
Tony Moore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But it's interesting. Like I said, page to page, it's a different artist doing their take on a classic monumental issue of X-Men. It's I think $3.99, and it's another one of those books, much like the Walking Dead book we were just talking about. I can't afford a Giant Size X-Men #1, but I can get this.
Is this panel blurry on purpose?
Which one?
The top middle panel?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Like I hope you didn't get like a smudge on here.
Like I said, I do understand. Like if somebody does pick up those Walking Dead weeklies that are recolor,
sure.
I completely understand.
No.
Me personally, as much as I enjoyed The Walking Dead and I enjoyed my time reading it, I don't care to pick it up. But like I said, I have a reprint of the Amazing Fantasy or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, because I get the cool factor of it. I think I've got, Batman's 80th anniversary. I think they reprinted that Detective Comics issue.
Well, I was going to say, what was it, like 6 months ago? The Marvel was doing the facsimile editions. They did like the first appearance of Deadpool.
Yeah, and I got
89.
that. Yeah.
And it was like ads and all. It was just a straight up reprint of it. And I'm
There's-
like, this is cool.
There's a cool factor to that. So
Yeah,
I get it. I just won't be getting the Walking Dead ones.
Right. Yeah, I really like, because, I mean, as cool as that issue is, the art is of its time. It is, kind of 70s art, and it's cool to see art that's much more modern artists doing essentially the same
It's
book.
an interesting idea, and that, if it was something that was a little outside of,
I don't know that I'd be in for a whole series of like, hey,
No.
we're just gonna take the layouts and the script of the original book and have this modern artist do it. Like, even if it was Jim Lee or something, I'm like, nah, I think I'm good. I think I've read the originals and they're fine. But it's cool to do
Getting
it.
the first one though would be kind of a cool.
It's cool to
I
do it
get
for
it.
something monumental like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it. Actually, I have more, but we've been talking for a long time, so I will push it off.
Look at this sexy depiction of Storm.
I know that.
Hubba.
Yeah, that's
James is a little distracted over there.
Hello.
I was gonna say, I think like 4 pages in, it's Storm's origin,
goodness.
and she is topless through the whole thing.
hold on, let me
even
find
in
this.
the original.
Topless Storm. Keep talking, Chuck.
All right, yeah,
You done with that over there yet,
I'm
James?
just perving here.
yeah. Why?
Ooh, she is topless.
And I know there was more pages to this, but some of them
her
feel
hair is-
thicker than usual. Like they're
hair is-
stuck together or something. What happened here?
If only that hair wasn't so smart to just cover up all the naughty bits. All right.
Before we go,
I did the same thing when he looked at the bat dong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Before we
Licked my
go,
lips.
before we go, I want to
I'm
make
gonna
a
want
quick
an
one.
escort back downstairs, by the way.
I'm just gonna turn your goddamn mics off.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Before we go, I want to mention the fact that this weekend was Pulsecon, which was Hasbro's version of what they would have revealed at Comic-Con. So I got
Okay.
to see some new Transformers that are coming out.
Cool.
Oh, you Transformers.
Yes, that's what I
just
wanted
what
to
you've been
end
trying
on.
to get to.
That's what I
Those
wanted to
goddamn
end on.
Transformers. You sit there and complain about how we've talked for too long, but Transformers is too important to cut off the stupid show.
There's next year they're gonna give me Beast Wars Transformers.
Oh, I heard the Beast Wars are coming back.
Yeah, they're doing some Beast Wars Transformers, which I'm not super pumped about, so I'll be skipping those. But they are taking what's called the Studio Series, which has been mostly the Michael Bay Transformers, and converting it to the 1986 cartoon movie. So they'll be very cartoon accurate versions of. Thank you, Al. I appreciate your input.
That's funny because I was like, why is he yawning so loudly? And it's part of the bit. I was like, why is he yawning so loudly?
Hasbro also owns the rights to Marvel Legends. They're going to be doing some Spider-Verse figures. You're going to be able to get a Spider-Gwen
Those are some great action figures.
with a Spider-Ham, which is going to be
That's
really
cool. I like that.
I want Spider-Ham.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get a Gwen with a Spider-Ham.
Peter Porker.
Yep.
My favorite character.
Also,
ever.
the Star Wars Black Series coming up. They're going to have the Rey that was with the cloak from the Rise of Skywalker with the lightsaber that
I have
switches around.
the Slave Leia, Star Wars Black.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's quite sexy.
And they're also doing for Christmas, they're doing different stormtroopers in Christmas colors for different.
Oh, really?
Like you have to go to, I think it's like Target, Walmart, Amazon, and like 2 others, but there's different stormtroopers and they're all red and green. The one, the snow trooper that looks like he's got like the face shield. The bottom of the face shield is painted so it looks like a scarf.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So you can get Christmas.
That's fun and festive. I think they've had like different like Chewbacca's and things. I think we have to unpack our Christmas decorations, but I think we've picked up a couple little trinkets here.
And they're also bringing back the Ghost Popper for Ghostbusters next year.
Which one's the Ghost Popper?
The Ghost Popper was the one back when I was a kid that shot the little Nerf pellets.
That looked like
Looked like marshmallows.
like a Twinkie that you cut in half?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I used to have that.
Yeah, so you'll be able to. I love going to like Walmart or something like that and seeing toys, recreations of toys that were in stores when I was a kid.
I also had There was one. Was a Ghostbusters. It looked like a Ghostbusters gun.
Yeah.
But you'd put like those like things, those shield things. That
Oh,
you'd put
yeah,
beside the
and you could-
Viewmasters.
Yeah, you could like the
So you'd have
Viewmaster
like a
thing. You'd
Viewmaster
shine it
in
on the
there,
wall.
and then you'd pull the trigger, and it would light up and make noise. And then you'd see one of the ghosts
Right.
up on the wall, and that was a blast because I actually had to go to my grandma's house. I turn off all the lights in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I pretend like I was busting ghosts.
That's cool.
You know,
That
that
was-
was probably where I started to find myself always going to the bathroom, turning off the lights, and
Turn off the lights
just spending
to.
some time alone. And
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. First time
That's
James.
the origin.
the
That's
origin-
my masturbatory origin story.
The origin story of James playing with himself in the
Yeah.
bathroom.
I got my ghost blaster ready to go. Oh boy! Oh no! There's ectoplasm all over the place.
I'm afraid of no ghost.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we can stop. We can end the show now, Al.
Ah,
We can
thank
go on.
God. I've been
Hall,
waiting.
Hall Gaming is in there saying you need your afternoon nap, and he's
I
not
do.
wrong.
I'm on my way. Got more work to do. Got all this talk about goddamn Transformers.
Thank you guys for joining us on Twitch, and thank you for downloading. Make sure you rate and review us on Google Podcasts and on Apple Podcasts. And
NerdRadio101.com.
join us next
Spend
week.
money. Use it.